The Paleolithic era was considered to be the Old Stone Age. People had stone tools, there were hunter-gatherers, people moved according to the seasons and found food sources. Evidence was left in the form of cave paintings. Cave paintings gradually changed to show how culture changed. I learned that the Neolithic period was considered to be the New Stone Age. Settled communities were formed, there was a rise in agriculture, towns and cities evolved, there was greater economic activity, like the beginnings of trade, and that society was dominated by men. I learned that the Neolithic Revolution brought four specific features. There were cities with large buildings for community purposes, like religion. There were political systems of some sort. Production of things for trading or local use, like pottery or textiles. And a writing system of some sort, something that says that they keep records. I learned that the new Babylonian Empire was still under the code of Hammurabi. The king was Nebuchadnezzar II. There was over 100,000 inhabitants, and the walls were 2 chariots wide of the empire. And Second Babylonian Empire was defeated by the Assyrians. The reason the Assyrians were important was because they were the warriors of ancient empires. The first attack was on Palestine. The Assyrians decimate kingdom of Israel. Judah becomes subservient warrior king, Sargon II, through constant warfare. Assyrian Empire will be created. Assyrians put their governments in overtaken regions. The reason the Assyrians have success is because they had a professional army with best equipment. They had perfected fighting. The Medes join Babylonian Empire. Together they defeat the Assyrians. Assyrians' empire got destroyed completely. Assyrians remembered as cruel human beings. Persians were Indo-Europeans. They would migrate to Persia. Persians were referred to as Iranians. Trademark of Persian rule was their benevolent attitude towards the people that they conquered. They allowed conquered areas to keep their culture if they got paid a hefty tribute. Cyrus the Great was the important Persian guy. Cyrus the Great was the most important king of ancient world. Cyrus had 2 goals. One was to win control of the West because it brought control over trade routes, and 2 was to secure eastern Persia. I learned that after Cyrus the Great died, Darius and Xerxes were going to finish the Persian conquest. They created a world empire. The entire ancient Near East was going to be united under the Persians. The biggest issue was how they were going to communicate. So they made roads. One of the roads was named the Royal Road. It was 1,677 miles long. I learned that Phoenicians are people from modern Lebanon. They began trading purple and blue textiles to Greece. They became the best seaborne merchants around. They manufactured metals, cooking tools, and as many things as possible. They expanded trading area from Spain all the way to the Middle East. They did not establish colonies. Instead, they had trading posts and farms, and they established refueling communities for ships and crew. I also learned about the complex social hierarchy in Sumeria. It's a patriarchal society, so all power is with the men. Nobility is in charge, so it's the king and his family. He just receives the power because he was a war leader. Kingship was hereditary, so it's passed down to the son or brother or cousin, etc. The palace showed off power. Other top-level people are the palace officials and priests. Next would be the commoners. Commoners are free men and women who own their own land, and the men had say in politics and city. The next tier would be clients. They're free men and women, however, they're different because they don't own their own land and worked on nobility's land for rent. The next and last tier would be the ark or slaves. They are prisoners of war, convicts, or people in debt. One could be born into slavery. It's considered property by nobility. Nobility could do anything they wanted with their slaves. A slave could buy their own freedom. Slaves have no legal rights at all. Beatings were frequent. I learned that Rome was grown very large. It had about 750,000 people. The surrounding countryside wasn't able to feed all the people. The emperors would provide free grain to citizens. They even provided wine and oil later on to prevent riots. Streets of Rome were crowded. Wagon traffic was outlawed during the day, at least. Buildings were built cheap and fast. The only thing that controlled population was disease, war, and famine. Graffiti was on the sides of buildings, and advertisements were. Few people had water in their homes. I learned that Augustus made the first fire department and police force, permanent police force. Romans were addicted to violent sports. Their most popular sports were gladiators and chariot racing.